Hello everybody, Mobius1 here, and even though it's only been less than a month since Star Wars Unlimited's first expansion, Shadows of the Galaxy, launched, it's already time for Episode 1 of Twilight of the Republic card reviews. I did post a couple of Shadows of the Galaxy card review videos, but I was like 2.5 months late with those, so these cards were just revealed to us yesterday, and I'm going to try and keep on top of it along with everybody else. If you're new to Star Wars Unlimited, I have a how to play video. Link to that will be in the video description. And if you're new to the channel, I do lots of different Star Wars gaming content, among other things, so feel free to check that stuff out as well. But I'm excited to start talking about some of these new cards, so let's not delay anymore. Let's jump right in. Now, before we start talking about any of the actual new cards that are coming in Twilight of the Republic, we need to first talk about a new concept, which is token units. Twilight of the Republic is going to be introducing at least 2 token units to the game, the first of which is here, a battle droid, and the second, a clone trooper. Now, Star Wars Unlimited does already have 2 tokens in the game. They are token upgrades. They are the shield token and the experience token. And similar to those, these token units are going to be on the back side of the base cards that you open in your packs. And they are not going to be cards that you can add to your deck, but instead will be cards that are generated or created through the effects of other cards. This is a mechanic that Magic the Gathering, and I'm sure other card games have been doing for years, so it's not like it's revolutionary or anything. But just like Bounty and Smuggle and even Capture in Shadows of the Galaxy have changed the way the game plays, these token units, just by themselves, just the fact that they exist, is going to totally morph the way Star Wars Unlimited actually feels to play when Set 3 comes out. We'll be talking more about these tokens a little bit later in the video. But before we move on, I have to bring this up because I'm very disappointed in myself. Literally a week ago, I sent a Discord message to Takora mentioning droid tokens as a reminder to myself to potentially make a YouTube video predicting the fact that these would be added to the game. And as is the case with a lot of my content, I was just too lazy to do it, and a week later, here we are, and now you just kind of have to take my word for it. And just before anybody asks in the comments, bat, it has nothing to do with Star Wars Unlimited. I actually just thought I heard a bat in the attic. All right, enough about that. Let's take a look at an actual card. And the first card we're going to look at is one of the 2 leaders that are going to be in the Twilight of the Republic 2-player starter, Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano is a red-white leader with a new keyword, Coordinate. Coordinate essentially grants a card new text when you control 3 or more units. Ground units, space units, token units, or leader units, they all count. And Ahsoka's Coordinate ability allows you to exhaust her to attack with a unit, and it gains +1/+0 for this attack. Then, once you have 5 or more resources, you can deploy Ahsoka, and she becomes a 3/6 with Coordinate. This unit gets +2/+0. That's actually not too bad because it is directly comparable to the young Han Solo leader that we just got in Shadows of the Galaxy. Not only are they both deployed on 5, they're both red-white, they are both 3/6s, and they both are actually in very similar poses, coincidentally. That's pretty much where their similarities end, however, because Han Solo is clearly trying to get larger units out more quickly with his discount ability, whereas Ahsoka Tano cares more about going wide with having a large board of many units to give her that Coordinate ability and buff her up to a 5/6 instead of a 3/6. In addition to that, Ahsoka obviously has that very sought-after trait, Force, meaning she can bring online additional abilities on other cards, such as Force Throw here. And if you're running her in a red, white, and blue deck, you can even throw a Jedi lightsaber on her, turn her into a base 6/9 with the potential to become an 8/9. That also debuffs the defender by -2/-2 on attack. And 5 resources to deploy your leader is really early in the game. If you do run her in a green deck, kind of the way Han Solo, the ramp solo decks that we've been seeing lately, you could potentially get Ahsoka out as early as turn 3. And if you're able to get 2 more units on the board, having a 5/6 body as early as turn 3 is pretty strong. The only other heroism leader that also has the Force trait that can be deployed as early as Ahsoka is Chirrut. And yes, you can run cheer it with a red base in order to use aggression cards such as Force Throw. The fact that he himself is a blue or vigilance leader does kind of steer your deck more in the control direction versus aggro. I think the fact that Ahsoka has the Force trait, deploys on 5, and by herself allows you to use red aggression cards is going to introduce a new type of Force-using aggressive deck to the meta. Whether that deck is going to be competitive or not, we'll have to wait and see, but I, for one, am excited to try it. Alright, so next up we have a card that is also going to be exclusive to the 2-player starter set. You can tell that because it's got that little black S in the rarity slot at the bottom of the card, is the 332nd Stalwart. The 332nd Stalwart is a 1-cost heroism unit with 1 power and 2 HP. Also has Coordinate. This unit gets +1/+1. So I'm going to be honest, this one doesn't really excite me all that much. Just looking at it on a surface level, we don't really see a whole lot of 1-cost 1/2s played unless they have very useful abilities such as Alliance Dispatcher here, which allows you to cheat units into play cheaper. I think the most popular 1-cost unit in the game currently would be R2-D2, which is a 1/4, so it's got twice as much HP and a really powerful when played and on attack ability. And there might be an argument to be made that it's kind of similar to the new Follower of the Way we just got in Shadows of the Galaxy, whereas Follower of the Way is a 2-cost 1/3 that has a conditional +1/+1, whereas this is a 1-cost 1/2 with a conditional +1/+1. And Follower of the Way has seen some competitive play. I don't really think there's a whole lot to say about this card other than it is clearly just a introductory card to the Coordinate mechanic. The fact that it's a starter set exclusive, I feel like it's kind of a way to be like, okay, here's a new mechanic and this card is a way for you to experiment with it, see how it works. The only way I see this card actually being included in competitive decks after the set launches is if we get more Republic or Clone synergies, which, believe me, I'm sure we will, that really push for just having a massive, massive board of cheap units. If, as we see more cards in the set, something like that starts to kind of take shape, I'll bring this card up again in the future, but for now, I think we can just move on. A slightly more interesting Coordinate card is Coruscant Guard, which is a 2-cost green unit, 3/2 with Coordinate Ambush. So if you've got at least 2 other units in play when you play Coruscant Guard, you get to ambush something with a 3/2. We do already have a 2-cost ambush card with Cloud Rider, which is a 3/1 ambush without the requirement of having 2 extra units in play. I don't really know if Cloud Rider has seen much play, to be honest. And because of that, I think Coruscant Guard is definitely an interesting card, but I think until we see if there are cards that give, like, Republic or Clone units passive buffs, like the way General Dodonna just passively gives other friendly Rebel units +1/+1. If we had a version of this that just, you know, other friendly Clone units gain +1/+1, that makes Coruscant Guard a 4/3 with Ambush. Now we're talking. And the last Coordinate card we're going to be looking at today is Anakin Skywalker, the 5-cost red-white 6/6 with Coordinate on attack, draw a card. I am hella surprised that this is a starter exclusive and not a legendary. I mean, right now, Poe Dameron, which is also a 5-cost red-white 6/6, is one of the most sought-after cards from Set 2, and is run in, like, every red-white deck. Now, his ability is very different than Anakin Skywalker, but just like with Ahsoka, Anakin has that Force trait, and getting to draw a card on attack as long as you have 2 other units in play is also really powerful. And I'm going to bring up the same thing that I did with Ahsoka, and that is if you're running him in a red, white, and blue deck, you could slap a Jedi lightsaber on him as early as turn 5, and you have a 9/9 Force unit that draws you a card potentially every turn. Honestly, I can't see a world in where this isn't also run in every red-white deck in the meta. Unless you're running like a Mandalorian heavy deck or some sort of themed deck where you just don't have an interest in running Force or Jedi units. I mean, even then, the 5-cost 6/6 is still hard to say no to even if you don't have access to Poe Damerons, because they're legendary. You're going to get 3 of these in the 2-player starter for Twilight of the Republic. I'm just calling it now. You're going to be seeing a lot of this card after set 3 drops. All right, and the last heroism card we're going to take a look at today is Captain Rex, a 6-cost green-white 4/4. When played, create 2 Clone Trooper tokens. So here you have it, the first actual card that generates the new token units. And the fact that Clone Trooper tokens are 2 2s means that Captain Rex is essentially a 6-cost 8/8 divided over 3 bodies. And because the new coordinate keyword requires you to have 3 or more units in play, Captain Rex on his own is an activator for all of your other coordinate units. For example, the Anakin Skywalker card that we just looked at. You could play Anakin Skywalker on turn 4 onto an empty board, and then play Captain Rex on turn 5, swing with Anakin Skywalker, and draw a card. Now, you'd have to be running a green, red, and white deck in order to include both of these units together, but that's already something in the meta now with the ramp solo deck. You know, why not have a Republic clone Force-using Jedi deck with a Crate Dragon at the top end? Why not? I guess you could also be trying to pull off the Omega Dream and include her in a yellow clone deck where you could ignore the aspect penalty on the first clone unit you play each round. We'll probably talk more about her as the rest of the set is revealed, but I think this combo alone, the whole Anakin into Captain Rex combo, is clearly designed to work that way on purpose. I mean, you could be running red-green, resupply on turn 2, Anakin on turn 3, Captain Rex on turn 4, and you've got an amazing board, and you're drawing additional cards like... this deck is going to exist. I don't know what the final version of it's going to look like, but this deck is going to exist. So yeah, Captain Rex in the right deck, I think is going to be pretty strong. All right, enough with heroism. Let's take a look at some villainy units now, starting with the villainy leader that's going to be coming in the 2-player starter kit, General Grievous. Grievous is a yellow, black, or cunning villainy leader with action. To exhaust him, give a droid unit Sentinel for this phase. And Grievous deploys on 6 resources to become a 4/8 with on attack. You may give a droid unit +1/+0 and Sentinel for the phase. A 4/8 leader at 6 resources is pretty good. We did just get Cad Bane, which is a 2/8 leader, but he has Raid 2, so he attacks as if he's a 4/8 leader. And buffing droid units and giving them Sentinel for a phase is a very interesting kind of tanky ability that I don't think we've seen in cunning decks yet. Now, believe me, I checked. There are in both sets, Shadows of the Galaxy and Spark of the Rebellion, there are a whopping total of 5 droid units that are not heroism. And one of them, the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, already has Sentinel. Now, yes, obviously, we're going to get a lot more droid synergy in Twilight of the Republic. I mean, even just being able to spawn a bunch of battle droid token units that are 1/1s and giving them a +1/+0 and Sentinel for the phase creates a 2/1 body that your opponent has to go through in order to get to any of your other units or your base. So if you're able to continuously play droid units and continuously swing with General Grievous, creating at least a small token Sentinel round after round, that's going to delay your opponent from being able to take you out. I mean, this is a terrible example, but we don't really have that many other villainy droids to look at yet, so let's just imagine a world where you have General Grievous in play, and you play a Viper Probe droid, you get to peek at your opponent's hand, and then when you swing with General Grievous, that Viper Probe droid's now a 4/2 Sentinel, which is not laughable. That's a pretty serious threat, especially if your opponent's playing an aggressive deck and they're trying to race you on base damage. Now they have to swing into something that's going to hit back for 4 damage. Similarly, Forlom, which is one of the other 5 non-heroism droid units we have, you play him. He's also cunning villainy, by the way, so he'll fit right into a Grievous deck. Play him, you can ambush something for 4, and if Forlom sticks around, then you can attack with General Grievous, make Forlom a Sentinel with however much health he's got remaining. And again, that's now a 5 something body that is going to prevent your opponent from hitting your base. Grievous's ability is clearly more focused on turtling and kind of stalling out the game. So I think it's most likely that we'll see like some sort of blue Grievous deck emerge where you're giving droids Sentinel and using removal cards to prevent your opponent from being able to get to your base. I don't know. That's at least my early prediction, and as we start to see more, we'll see if that changes. But let's start taking a look at some of the new droid cards we're going to get, including General's Guardian. General's Guardian is a 4-cost green-black, 4/4. When this unit is attacked, create a battle droid token. So that actually synergizes really well with General Grievous, as is intended, because if you give this unit Sentinel and your opponent attacks into it, you get to spawn a 1/1 battle droid. And if your opponent is silly enough to attack into this multiple times, like maybe they only have a board of 2/2 clone trooper token units, each time they attack into General's Guardian, you get another battle droid. Now, of course, General's Guardian is a prime target for removal cards such as Takedown, because it will not trigger in this case since the unit isn't being attacked. So I think depending on the matchup, General's Guardian could either be pretty good or actually kind of useless. I don't know. I mean, we were just talking about Forlom, which is also coincidentally a 4-cost 4/4, but he's got Ambush. Would you rather have a 4/4 Ambush or a 4/4 that might give you 1/1 tokens if your opponent decides to attack into it, but gives you nothing if you attack and, you know, you're the one making the trade, you're not getting anything in return? Like maybe in a General Grievous deck where you can force your opponent to attack into it with Sentinel, then it might work. Otherwise, I sound like a broken record, but we're going to have to wait until we see more cards. A new dark side droid card I do think we're going to see a lot of is Separatist Commando. Separatist Commando is a 2-cost yellow-black 2/3. While you control another Separatist unit, this unit gains Raid 2. Now, if you watch any of my Shadows of the Galaxy card review videos, we talked a lot about how Battlefield Marine is kind of like the staple 2-drop, at least from set 1. Now, obviously, Separatist Commando on its own is only a 2/3 for 2, which is not as good. I think Separatist Commando kind of compares a little bit better to Partisan Insurgent, which is also a 2-cost unit, aggression in this case, a 1/4, so you're losing 1 power to gain 1 HP, but it also has a conditional Raid 2, where Partisan Insurgent requires you to have another red unit in play, whereas Separatist Commando, it's another Separatist unit. Now, similarly, you'd only run Partisan Insurgent if you were playing a mostly red deck. You're only going to play Separatist Commando if you're running a mostly Separatist deck. And I think a 4/3 is actually probably better than a 3/4 in a lot of cases. You know, the meme since Shadows of the Galaxy launched has been dies to Daring Raid, because Daring Raid is a 1-cost event that deals 2 damage. But since Separatist Commando still has 3 health, that does keep it out of range of Daring Raid. And because we're undoubtedly going to have cards that are just going to mass spawn Battle Droid token units, I think it's not going to be difficult at all to have another Separatist unit in play for Separatist Commando to work. I'm not saying this card is broken or anything, I'm just saying it's probably going to be a staple 2-drop in any sort of Separatist or droid deck, especially one that's being run by General Grievous, since his colors are also yellow-black. Speaking of generating Battle Droid tokens, the next unit we're looking at is Battle Droid Escort, a 3-cost black unit, a 1/1 with when played and when defeated, create a Battle Droid token. So the design of this one's really interesting, and it reminds me a lot of some cards that I used to play with when I played Hearthstone. Obviously, a 1/1 for 3 is really bad, but it's not just a 1/1 for 3, right? You're actually getting a total of 2/2 stats divided over 2 bodies, and half of that 1/1 body, the Battle Droid Escort itself, is what we would call a sticky 1/1. And what I mean by that is when it dies, it in a way sticks around because of its when defeated, it replaces itself with another 1/1 Battle Droid token. This card is an absolute amazing follow-up to Separatist Commando. You play Separatist Commando on turn 1. On turn 2, you play Battle Droid Escort, which gives you a 1/1, another 1/1, and now your Separatist Commando can attack for 4. And then on following turns, you have these 2 1/1 bodies that you can ping enemy units with. And even if you attack with both of them, when Battle Droid Escort dies, you're still going to have a Separatist unit on board to attack with Separatist Commando for 4 again. And if you're playing this in a General Grievous deck, you can use his leader ability to give Battle Droid Escort Sentinel so that your opponent wastes an attack on a 1/1, which replaces itself. Look, I'm going to say the same thing about this that I just said about Separatist Commando, which is I don't think Battle Droid Escort is broken, but I do think it's super flavorful, and I think it's going to lead to some really interesting combos. For instance, the last card we're looking at in this video, Hailfire Tank, an 8-cost villainy Separatist droid vehicle tank, 7/6 with another new keyword, Exploit. So Hailfire Tank has Exploit 2, and it says while playing this card, defeat up to 2 units you control. This card costs 2 less for each unit defeated this way. Do I need to make this any more clear? Turn 2. Battle Droid Escort, you get a 1/1 and another 1/1. Turn 3, you can sacrifice the Battle Droid Escort and the Battle Droid token to play Hailfire Tank for 4, and you still get a 1/1 back from Battle Droid Escorts when defeated. That is a 7/6 vehicle on turn 3. The closest thing we have to that right now is Jango Fett, who's a 4-cost 3/6, and when he attacks a unit with Bounty, he becomes a 6/6. And maybe you can count playing the Darksaber onto a unit on turn 3 because it does buff its attack by 4. So, you know, if it's like a 3/3, it'll become a 7/6. But this combo of Battle Droid Escort, Hailfire Tank is just like the tip of the iceberg of what we could see in Twilight of the Republic. I'm telling you guys right now, we are going to see some absolutely crazy combos, the likes of which Star Wars Unlimited just hasn't had once this set comes out. The clone and Battle Droid synergies are really limitless. So is Hailfire Tank good? I mean, without having units to sacrifice, it's an 8-cost 7/6, which no, that's not good. But I just don't imagine a world where Twilight of the Republic doesn't have a boatload of ways to just spawn a bunch of 1/1 Battle Droid tokens that you can just make this a 4-cost 7/6. We're going to have to wait and see what other cards there are in the set, but this is scary already. All right, so that's it for this video. Twilight of the Republic is going to have something like 250 cards, so we're really just getting started with this. Hopefully I can keep up with these analysis videos as the new cards are slowly revealed to us over the coming months. I'm going to try and get some prediction videos out there before we see too much of the set, just so we can kind of have some fun and see if my ideas kind of match what the actual designers were thinking. Let me know in the comments what you thought of my analysis, which of these cards you were really looking forward to play the most. If you think I'm over-exaggerating on some of these combos, let me know. Or if you're just as afraid as I am. Also, let me know what characters or vehicles from Star Wars that you're looking forward to seeing being added to Star Wars Unlimited. But that's it for now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Mobius1 here, and I'll see you in the next one.